What's up, folks? Renfail here. You know what time it is. It's time for my initial review of The Division 2. So I do a three-part review process. I start with an early thoughts video after my first stream. We've already done that. I then do an initial review after 20 hours or 25 hours played, somewhere in that ballpark. And then I do a final review whenever I've finished the game, which is a little more tricky with a live service ongoing game like this, but it's usually whenever I finish a campaign or whenever I'm ready to move on from a game. So this is the second of the three reviews that I will be doing for the Division 2. If you haven't watched my first thoughts video, you can check that out. It was a few days ago. I have actually played this game before, but when it first launched years ago, and I put about 65 hours into it back then, but I haven't touched it since then. So I came into it in 2025 looking at this as sort of a, hey, I've got a week-long gap in my schedule here. Is there anything I want to dive into on my PlayStation? And I saw this sitting there, and I was like, hey, I should check out the Division 2 in 2025 and see what it's like. And I've been having a lot of fun. So today, I crossed the 20 hours mark during this morning's stream. And as such, I wanted to actually talk a little bit about the game. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot. So obviously, this is a looter shooter at its core, and I've kind of already talked about some of the things that the game offers in that initial early thoughts video. But as I've gotten deeper into the game, there are a few things that have cropped up, both positive and negative. So on the positive side, let's talk about the positives first. There is a really rich and deep system here for those of you who might be coming into this game as a new player or someone who has not played in a very long time. There is a ton of content here for new players, not so much old players. So if you played through everything up to the expansion, which came out several years ago, um, and you haven't played since then, there's probably not a lot that's been added since then other than some seasonal content. I know that that's a complaint that I've heard from a lot of people who are like veteran players, who are like, there just hasn't been enough content added to this game over the years. And I think that's a legitimate complaint for any live service game that has long content droughts. It also doesn't help that there was a planned Battle Royale version of the game that got canceled in 2024. But they are actively working on the Division 3 right now, now that Massive has wrapped up work on Star Wars Outlaws. So I'm hopeful because I'm having a lot of fun with this game because as someone who is coming back to it as an old player who hasn't played in a lot of years, there's a ton of stuff for me here. Like I can easily see myself putting in probably conservatively 75 to 100 hours into the content that's here without ever even dipping into the multiplayer stuff. So I'm purely playing this as a single player PvE game, and there's a lot of fun stuff. One of the things that I've noticed since my initial review of that I did, my early thoughts video that I put together the other day, is the depth and breadth of the gear system, which turns out has multiple layers that I didn't really understand until I got going into this. So obviously there's your stats, weapon handling, status effects, armor, so on and so forth. But then there's like if you get into like branded sets, which have like combo bonuses if you're wearing multiple pieces of a branded set. There's also on here things like skill tiers. Like this one has a +1 skill tier, and over here you're gonna know this is skill tier bar, which has 6 bars. Each one of those bars, basically, it just makes your stuff better. You're more powerful. Your like your skills, like or your like my I'm using the turret and the drone are they're more powerful because of that. And also just being able to get in here and after now that I've run a bunch of side quests and other missions, I've started to get access to all of these mods. So I can come in here and find like as an example with the scopes. I've got all these different scopes unlocked now because I've done a bunch of side quests which give me all these different mods that I can install. So there's a ton of variety in the gear that you can get, and not only that, but also being able to go over here to the crafting station and craft all your different types of gear. And going in here, okay, so I just got to level 20 today. I'm actually level 22 at the moment. And getting access to the superior workbench and be able to craft my own purple gear. So I can do weapons, different weapons types now, but also going in here and being able to create like all these different things. So random brand backpack. I'm actually missing that recipe, but I do have, as an example, I could craft this one if I wanted to. Um, You're going to notice these possible brand outcomes: Fenris Group AB, Overlord Armaments, Petrov Defense Group, Providence Defense, Sokolov Concern, etc. And then there's 3 random bonuses that you can get. So that gear is quite powerful, and you combine the bonuses to get a set bonus when they're all together. It's quite cool. And then on top of that, I lost like an hour yesterday going in here and realizing that there is an entire um, well, hang on, let me pick like the chest piece. This is a better example. Going in here and realizing that there is a not only a die slot but a appearance slot. And so now I can go in here and go, oh wow, so now I can start actually customizing what I want my stuff to look like. And I've got all these different options because everything you loot in the game gives you a custom look that you can then apply to something. It's just there's so much stuff here. Like I'm totally gonna pick that right now for now. And then now my guy looks like that. And then not only that, but there's like a full-on apparel system. So then you can like you have your beanies and hats. Oh, hello! I didn't even see that. Like I got a new helmet, that like tactical helmet. Um, Different types of glasses, different scarves and things, masks, like all these different bits and pieces. There's like emotes and just, just there's a ton of stuff in here, which I think is really cool. So again, this is mostly about like being a new player coming into this and having a ton of stuff to do. Now, one thing I will say, because I have started to get to the point where I'm there are a lot, and this is the same problem that the Assassin's Creed games have, which is there are so many different things to do. So, like when you start working on projects, you're going to be doing things like aid hostage rescue, or complete activities in the park, neutralize elite outcasts, as an example. So when you start going into these regions and zones to complete these like activities, like here is a hostage rescue, right? Or public execution, sorry. And here's a propaganda outpost. Um, Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. There's that, there's parts, there's a propaganda broadcast there, control point. At some point, once you've done 5 or 10 of these, they kind of get repetitive to do. And the thing is like, you want to do them because of the fact that you get the bonuses from doing them, and they all lead to bounties, which give you really good gear. So if you're going gear grinding, that gear grind can get a little bit repetitive if you're going to do that a lot. I have found that for the most part, I've been able to stick to just doing the primary missions mixed in with side missions. And the interesting thing about side missions is if you look here, if I go click on this side mission as an example, oops, I was clicking on the wrong thing. It unlocks a blueprint. So all of your like mods and some of the additional weapons, like if you want to get the crafting recipes to make armor, weapons, and mods, you're going to find those from doing these side missions. The side missions have a slight story to them, but they're usually a little bit repetitive after you've done 10 or 20 of them. Maybe like 5 or 10. The main missions, however, have a completely different storyline and are pulling you through this main story. So if you're primarily interested in story, I would say the story in this game is probably kind of mid. If you've ever played any of these looter shooter like war game things, like the story here is, there's a virus, there's bad guys, there's factions, you're fighting the different factions. We rescued the president in one of the earlier missions. The story isn't all that great, but I tell you what, the looter shooter aspect of this game, the gear sets that you can put together, the loadouts that you can create. I'm not even in like the end game yet because I'm only level 20, but I can already see like the potential for getting into the hardcore like modding of and creation of like crafting of these epic tier weapons with the exact sets and stat bonuses that you want to suit your playstyle, and the mods that you can put on your like I'm using drones and um, turrets, but you could use shields, you could use the fireflies. There's lots of different things you can use to play your class. And I'm not even diving into like the multiplayer component because there's a whole multiplayer here for people who want to play with their friends, who want to matchmake with other people. I know I've seen some comments from people who are like, "Oh, the game is dead. There's nobody to play with," and I just haven't found that to be the case. Obviously, at this point it's a 6-year-old game, so the population is not what it was at launch, and that's the same for any live service game. Once it goes down the path of slow updates, the population is going to drop. But I have not had any problem finding people if I wanted to do any matchmaking or anything like that. I'm not doing a lot of it because it's really not my primary objective here, but there's the safe houses are always full of people. We've got a bunch of people in the streams. We've been having a really good turnout in the streams and on the videos that I've been publishing of people who are actively playing this game still. So I was actually genuinely shocked the first stream we did. Um, I was only expecting to have about a third of the traffic we had on all the stream on that first stream on YouTube and Twitch, and I was just genuinely shocked that there were that many people who are still interested in this game and people who have played it but haven't played it in years, and they've come back to it now and are playing alongside my playthrough, which is really awesome to see happening. So I'm having a great time. I'm going to keep pushing through this for the next probably week. I'll probably wrap up around the 10th or so. I think my objective is just to get to level 30. I don't know that I'll purchase the expansion right now because we're about to get into Assassin's Creed Shadows and Atomfall and a bunch of other stuff. So I've got a bunch of new releases that are stacked on top of each other. So I don't know that I'll do the expansion, but I might. You never know. I'm having a great bit of fun right now. And this satisfied my craving for something fun and light in the looter shooter. I just wanted to shoot some guns. And I was tired of fantasy RPGs for a little bit. I needed to shoot some weapons, and this has satisfied that craving. So I'm having a great time. Love to hear your thoughts on the Division 2. Drop them down below. Daily streams at around 5 or 6 a.m. Central every single morning on YouTube and Twitch because I multi-stream in both places. And everything in between happens here on the YouTube. So hopefully we'll see you in the next stream or video. Until then, stay safe and happy gaming.